So I thank him. This is an experience of management of reuse and effective reuse of monastic communities that is now coming to us from France, where we don't simply have the tradition of protection of culture, cultural heritage, but the experience being brought to us from the French, from France. And so I'm particularly grateful to Guillaume Jedrzejczak, excuse my pronunciation of your name, which is a bit of a difficulty for me, but I count on your friendship to forgive my errors in pronunciation. We met recently in Paris, where we shared these worries for the ecclesiastical heritage in Europe. So Guillaume is president of the Monasteries Foundation, based at the Jesuit faculty in Paris. I hand over to him to hear these experiences from France. Thank you. So, in the context of French law, the foundation is at the service of the communities in our country for over 50 years now. I'd like, first of all, to say briefly who we are and what we do, and then I will give you some concrete examples of what we're doing in the sphere of conservation of material and immaterial heritage. And then I will try to sum up the method that we have learned through our experience over 50 years. And then I will speak about the way we want to address the challenges of the communities. I'd like to make clear that in France there is a very particular statute law regarding religious communities, because there is a statute of official recognition that not all communities have this statute. So if a community doesn't have a juridical personality, they have to lean on another body, and this is why the role of the foundation. I want to speak about the Monasteries Foundation. Who are we? The foundation began in 1960 when compulsory old age insurance was generalized in France. Some communities found themselves in great difficulty because they weren't actually able to pay the national health contributions. On the initiative of a monk, the Association of Friends of the Monasteries was created, des Amis de Monastères, and which became a foundation of public utility in 1974. The Monasteries Foundation is directed by a board of directors of 12, that has 12 members, both religious and lay people, half and half. The president, male or female, must be a religious. Because of the advantages of its status, this body's status, a representative of the state also sits on its board, and this person is nominated by the Home Office. The statutory bodies rely on several commissions to provide them with information, particularly in the financial and real estate fields. A team of about 10 permanent staff members ensures the day-to-day operation and contributes to the commissions. What do we do then? Our mission is to help Christian religious communities, not only Catholic ones, but also the religious communities that are Protestant or Orthodox, which must be recognized by their own hierarchies. This support mainly emerges in three forms. First, the foundation takes care of the administrative management of the gifts and legacies linked to it or to the communities directly, which could be donations, legacies, or life insurances. The foundation offers financial assistance for the conservation, maintenance, or upgrading of the assets of the communities, or for the payment of their social security contributions. Third, the foundation, Monasteries Foundation, gives advice in their administrative, legal, and fiscal procedures. We have booklets that we publish regularly on these different spheres of work, and articles, in-depth articles, and the foundation also gives concrete answers in the review called Les Amis de Monastères, or in specific booklets. The conservation of the heritage. There are many monastic buildings in France, some of which are classified as historical monuments. But there are also many that have been confiscated by the state through the uprising political turmoil in France. The Monasteries Foundation can work for the preservation of this monastic heritage when these places are inhabited by communities. We don't help associations that have buildings, monastic buildings, which are not lived in by communities. Building projects. The projects most often concern buildings, but sometimes the movable cultural heritage as well. The more general subject of the future of religious real estate is a very present concern and gave rise to a colloquium organized in Paris in December 2021 with the Conference of Religious for France. We had the honor of welcoming Archbishop Caballo for the final talk. Concrete examples allow us to show some facets of the actions undertaken by the Foundation. The movable cultural heritage. In 2016, an exceptional collection of 17th and 18th century works from the Abbey of Melleray, which had been closed and they'd been given to community. This collection was deposited at Citeaux. The room of the documentation center being already full, it was a question of fitting out new spaces to accommodate this library without losing sight that other possible assets might arrive. In 2018, the Monasteries Foundation gave its support to this extension project, the extension of the European spreading of Cistercian culture, alongside private and public parties. In November 2018, a broad appeal for donations was launched to save the 12th century Abbey Church at Senang that was threatened with collapse. It's a church that was very much visited in France and was in great danger of falling down. Thanks to the mobilization of public and private bodies, the necessary funds, 2.8 million euros, were raised in order to launch the work. The foundation, Monasteries Foundation, contributed in the first instance its immediate help in terms of scaffolding, and then gathered up from 980,000 euros given by 4,000 donors. The Foundation doesn't limit its work to France. We have also enabled and enhanced the heritage of the French state at the service of communities, monastic communities, for example, in Israel. In 1976, the French state wished to have a presence in order to enable its national domain of Abu Ghosh and its 12th century church in Israel to continue its life. The monks of Bec Elouin and the nuns of Saint François Romain found themselves in charge of this exceptional site. As a place of pilgrimage, the abbey fulfilled its vocation as a presence among the Jewish people, but also located in an Arab village. With the help of the Fondation, Monasteries Foundation, the reception area, located in the 9th century ruins, was built. After the renovation of the chapel in Bouleur, the consolidation of the organ, after the renovation of the chapel, the consolidation of the organ loft, which took place in 2017 at Boulard, with the help of the Foundation, made it possible to install an 1880 organ that had been donated to the community. The Sisters of Chartreuse, Chartreuse de Reposar, a 13th century monastery that became a Carmelite one in 1932. They needed to redo their kitchen, but this building was part of the heritage. So in 2018, there was a restoration respecting the monumental factors of the Sisters Monastery that the Foundation supported. Evaluation of the cultural heritage of the Order of the Visitation. The Museum of the Visitation in Moulins, in order to ensure and influence the Order's heritage, has published every year since 2007 with the support of the Foundation, Monasteries Foundation. Since 2013, has a remarkable work of art abundantly illustrated to accompany its temporary exhibitions. The museum is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. More broadly, the sisters lent the liturgical objects to the museum. More broadly, the Foundation provides legal and financial support for the development of this unique work, which also benefits from partnerships with local authorities. At present, in particular the city of Moulins at present, the Foundation is working actively with the museum structure, the monasteries and their federations to find a solution for the future, guaranteeing the religious character of this heritage at a time when a number of monasteries are indeed closing in France. So the idea of allowing the general public to know this heritage, to conserve it in good condition, is to give the desire to people to visit these museums. The Foundation's method. In order to respond to the numerous requests it receives, the Foundation has established a method which is fruit of the experience accumulated over the years. And this method could be summed up in 3 points. To work, you also have to look for funding, resources. So there's a whole part concerning seeking funding for resources, which is of course necessary, but it's not enough to have the resources. You have to know how to management, and this is the second element of this method. And then you have to evaluate, you have to consider what the needs are, starting from the requests being made, And this is what we call collegial treatment of subjects, seeking resources. For a very long time, we didn't ask for funds from donors. We simply put forward information concerning the foundation itself and the communities, and we received gifts or legacies. But we realized in recent years that the people who could help us were growing fewer, so we realized we had to be more proactive in seeking donations, and so we moved from communicating news in Christian media to a more proactive attitude. First of all, by increasing communication in specialized media for the general public to make known the work of the foundation, the needs of the monasteries, and by helping the communities with their own fundraising. So when a community wants funds, needs funds, we help them to prepare their application. We also do marketing activities in order to seek new support, especially among new generations. We also then offer information. We build loyalty among our donors by means of a quarterly newspaper, keeping them updated on what the foundation is doing. This, I think he's finding his place with the slides. A whole area of communication is developing.
Ah, alors celui-là. Pardonnez-nous.
He's apologizing for the delay. We've lost some slides. So we do a great work of communication with the press, and we seek support. Then we have the foundation organize meetings with benefactors. So we organize meetings with our benefactors and the communities. And for the 50th, especially for the 50th anniversary. In fact, we feel it is important that donors should know the communities and that there should be this link, this bond between these living communities and those who help them. So we organized a series of meetings on particular subjects. In one of them, we recalled the subject of welcome in the community's receptivity, and then another was authority. We invited people who exercise authority in the army, in the field of education and instruction, in the church, and in communities. And then a third meeting was when we spoke about the challenges that the communities are facing today. The Foundation seeks to communicate also by sponsoring films, enabling the production of films, books, or cultural events related to monastic life. We also contribute to making the communities and the foundation, the monastery's foundation, better known. Similarly, our quarterly magazine, Les Amis de Monastères, presents the diversity of monastic heritage. And the most recent copy of this review speaks of the Certosi. Resource management. We gather together resources and we control the management of the sources. We control the financial managers of, and this work is done by the Financial Commission, composed of board members and experts who are outside of the religious circles. And we have a quarterly report, and we meet them for a quarterly report. In 2014, an investment fund was created, and the communities can invest in it independently as they wish. We've seen that many communities don't manage anymore to manage their reserves. So we thought that there too we could create a new investment fund. We also have a commission monitoring the investment property, and so now we address all these things in a collegial manner. We make decisions regarding this funding when there is a request for financial assistance or a request for legal, fiscal, or real estate assistance. The Foundation has this methodology. Concerning the future, we are very well aware that the demographics of communities is making the situation more difficult, but there are new realities coming about as well. There are communities that are, if there are communities that are closing, there are some that are fine or that are developing. The Foundation has the role also to accompany these communities. These realities, new realities perhaps have been going for quite a while, or they're new movements or communities that are seeking a canonical status and a model of governance, but for which heritage questions are already relevant. So the benefits of the experience. Although, first of all, we have developed a working method with different elements of civil society and religious world so as to work together. We insist on respecting the rights and duties of each within the framework of French civil law and also canon law. We seek to form and help the communities to respect good practice concerning law in France. Then we try to raise awareness in the communities and of a more global reality, which is in terms of solidarity among communities and among different types of religious life. We speak very much about the responsibilities that we have today Because if some communities will disappear, it doesn't mean that religious life in France will disappear. It's very important, therefore, to feel that we are all responsible for the future of religious life.